People across the country continue tonight to respond after Joe Biden was announced the 2020 president-elect. In the Coastal Bend, Republican and Democrat organizations rallied this weekend, sharing their reactions. Our Mariah Gallegos has tonight's top story.
4 more years! 4 more years! 4 more years!
Group members from the Coastal Bend Republicans and Latinos for Trump parked at Sunrise Mall.
We want to keep the morale up.
Flags held up with signs and clothing showing their support for President Trump and sending one message to people who drive by.
We don't believe that the election is over.
Their biggest argument being the vote count.
We need a recount. We need to make sure that the numbers add up.
After Joe Biden was announced as the president-elect, Trump's campaign team announced they would be filing a lawsuit to challenge election officials in several battleground states. Now, Republicans across the country are waiting for those results.
As long as it is fair and square, we just want to be sure that the election goes to the one who has gathered the most votes from the citizens of this country.
But while supporters in red continue to make their voices heard, those in blue are celebrating. These pictures are courtesy of the Nueces County Tejano Democrats, the group that organized this caravan, honking their horns in joy that the candidate they have supported through the presidential campaigns has been projected as the winner of the race. However, results from Georgia, Alaska, and North Carolina are still pending, and Trump supporters say the race isn't over until all votes are counted and lawsuits are settled.
Here all the way down South Texas, how concerned we feel and how involved we are and how committed we are to stay by our president until the last the last vote is counted.
Mariah Gallegos, 3 News.